All right, so I won't stay on long. Here's the fun thing. I did a vlog sometime back, and I made it a premiere because I finally learned how to do premieres and set them up to where I could um, record a video on my computer, and then it would play sometime later. So I made a blog sometime back on whether to stay single or to marry. So I don't know how many of you seen that blog, but this is kind of a spin-off from that blog because the thing is a lot of times after you finally made the decision whether you prefer to be single or to be married, then you have to make another decision. You have to know when it's for the real thing or if it's not the real thing. And I'm actually going to read something to you because it really hits everything that I pretty much feel about it. Then I'm going to tell you why I agree with all this. But, anyways, so if it's real love, it's unselfish, caring about the interest of the other person. And the romance often starts slowly and it perhaps takes months or years to develop. You're attracted by the other person's total personality and their spiritual qualities. The effect on you is that it makes you a better person instead of making you act like an idiot, basically. Um, you view the other realistically, seeing his or her faults, but then you are able to look over them and not be clouded by it. Because if they have like really bad faults that would grind on you or annoy you, a lot of times if you're infatuated with them, you don't care because all you care about is the way they look. Okay, so that's not a good thing because you're not going to stay in the relationship very long, or it's not going to work because you're going to be fighting way too much. Anyways, you have disagreements, but you find that you can talk them out and settle them quickly. And you want to give and share with the other person all the time. So I agree with all these things because here's the reason why. When you're infatuated with somebody, all you care about is what they look like. You don't care about their personality. You don't care about their likes and their dislikes. You don't care. You're selfish. The thing is, if it's real love, you are able to let go as well because sometimes it doesn't work out with that person because maybe they ended up starting to date somebody else or they like somebody else or something or they're already in a relationship and all you care about is them being happy. If you're infatuated with somebody or overly obsessed with them, then the problem is that it's not real love because the thing is you won't be happy seeing them with somebody else. You'll be selfish because you're going to be like, what can I get out of this relationship? This is all you're going to care about. What can I get from them? What can I get from it? Instead of caring about the person's wants, their needs, and their happiness. You want to see that person be happy and you want to see that person be content. And then when it's the real thing, then you are okay with that. Okay. Being unselfish, and I always told this to my husband too, is you have to do more giving than taking, and you have to be more concerned about their feelings, their emotions, their needs. That's another sign that it's real love because, um, if you're not, and when you're selfish in the relationship, all you're going to care about is yourself. And you're not going to care about what they like, they dislike, what's important to them. None of that's going to matter to you. So that's definitely not real love. Um, Also, you got to realize that everybody has their quirks, and it's always good to get to know somebody and and talk to them as much as you possibly can. Get to know a lot of their likes, their dislikes. Find a way to chat with them to where if it's a long distance relationship, to where you can video chat a lot. And I know this sounds really weird, but here's the reason why. Everybody has quirks. Everybody's voice sounds different. Everybody's laugh is different. What if you end up in thinking, okay, I think I really connect with this person, and then you start getting to know them in person, and you're like, I cannot stand the way they do this, or I can't stand the way they chew their gum. I can't stand the way they hold their class. Um, I don't like their laugh. Their laugh is so annoying. Every time I hear them laugh, it makes me cringe, or I'm like, oh gosh, they're going with that stupid laugh again. Um, then that's probably not a good idea because When you get in a real serious relationship, when it is real love, I like how this points out that it takes time, it takes months, even years for it to grow. A lot of people don't really think about this, but when you first get married or settle into a relationship, you are in your infatuation stage, whether you realize it or not. You're still not really truly in real love with them because you're still in that, cloud nine feeling, and you're bumping bunnies, as the expression goes. It's just, that's the way it is, okay? That's why a new relationship is supposed to be. But it's not the real deal for a while, because why does it take months and years to grow? You have to go through things together. You have to go through trials together. You have to go through the fire together. And if your relationship can withstand the fire, you're okay. Because it's like there's so many things, ups and downs in life. And the thing is will that person stand by your side? And will you be willing to stand by their side when your whole world is crumbling around you and you feel that the only person that you have to turn to is the person that's standing right next to you? How are you going to handle that situation? Seeing how each other reacts to it. That's what makes your love grow for each other, because it's like if somebody is there for you when your world is falling apart and they are by your side, day and night, they won't leave your side, and they're there for you. They help you get through it. They try to pull you up, and they try to make you a better person. That's a good sign. And it also means that that person really, really loves you and cares about you. But on the other hand, it helps your relationship grow with them and helps you to love them more, because you see that connection and you see that that person is really, truly there for you at your darkest moments. And that is what makes it beautiful, because when somebody is like that, you hold on to them and you don't want to let go. That's what makes a relationship grow. And I know me and my husband has been through a lot of ups and downs in our life. And I remember I was going through, after I had surgery, I've only had one surgery so far in my life, and I don't like it. I hope I never have to have another one. But I had some really rough things happen to me. It just seemed like every time I turned around, something was going on. And I remember one night that something happened, and it was so bad for me that I cried for a good long time. And the funny thing about it was that my husband is the type of person that's in bed by 8:30 at night. Okay. That night, he curled up on the bed with me and he held me in his arms until 1 a.m. in the morning, until I finally calmed down and could go to sleep. That was very rough. Okay. And I told my husband, I'm never taking this ring off again. I mean, that's when you know it's real, when somebody is there for you in your deepest, darkest moments. You know that they really love you, because, if they don't really love you, they'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry, that's too bad. And then they're going to walk away from you. They're going to leave you high and dry eventually. Infatuation, disagreement happens. This is what I talked to about my husband when we first were married. And okay, so I'm telling you guys some things I probably shouldn't, but you get in this when you're first married. Sometimes, like I said, you can become bumping bunnies, but at the same time, you guys have this way of thinking of settling a disagreement is one way. It's not the right way to settle disagreements. Okay. Best way to settle disagreements is to sit down and talk it out. Like that mentioned, you can sit down and talk it out and settle disagreements quickly. It mentions infatuation. Usually the argument ends with, let's kiss and make up. No, because sometimes all that does is it just kind of puts a band-aid on the problem. And when you put a band-aid on the problem, yeah, you're good for a little bit, because you're just like, no. What happens later, another argument's going to come up. And because you didn't sit down and talk about that argument, it's going to build and build and build. So, to find true love, to know that it's real, and to know that this is the person for you, get to know them well enough to know what their quirks are. Does their smile, do you like their smile? Do you look forward to seeing their smile? Is it something that you look forward to seeing? Do you like to listen to the laugh? Do you like the way they talk? Do you like the sound of their voice? those are things you're going to live with for the rest of your life. If you can't handle the way their quirks that they have, the way they talk, the way they laugh, the way they move, or the way they hold things, or I can't, why does she stand there, he or she stand there and with their leg this way, or I don't know, something really stupid. And you can't handle those little quirks, and you're like, why in the world did they always, every time I see them, they're always doing this stupid little move or motion with their hands or their feet or their, does that bother you? How bad does it bother you? Is it something that would grind on you? Then if it's something that you think about deep down that would grind on you to where you couldn't handle being with that person or being around that person, or just get on your nerves where you feel like you have to change that about them, walk away. Just walk away, because that person's not meant for you. You have to be with somebody that you can handle their quirks, that you love their quirks, that you like the way they laugh, you like the way they do things. If you like all that, then there's a pretty good chance that person's meant for you. And then it's time to move on to the next phase. And moving on to the next phase is pretty easy. That's the fun part, because that's just getting to know the person. And if you feel like there's a chance there could be something there, you need to make sure that person knows how much they mean to you. For women, for you guys out there, just to give you a good heads up, if you're dating some girl, do not, and I repeat, do not ignore any messages from them. I don't care how busy you are, you better be writing something. Because I can tell you from a personal story, us women all go there. I've also had girlfriends at work, friends that I've known as witnesses for years, they'll come to me upset, frustrated. I think you might be seeing somebody else. Blah, 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 blah. I wrote him and it's been this many hours and they not wrote me back. Or I wrote them and I know they're working, but surely they would have wrote me on the 15 on their lunch break. Something. I should have heard something from them, right? So a day goes by. 2 days go by. Nothing from you. She's going to move on. You know why? Because she thinks you don't care about her. That secretly you're interested in somebody else and you're not telling her. And the best scenario is me and my husband's very first argument when we were dating. Okay, my husband had a really bad cold. He was helping build a hotel at the time because he was working part-time for an electrician. And they were doing electrical work in this hotel. Okay. I did not know this. He fell and hurt himself. He had a really, really bad cold. He's working 12 to 15-hour days. And I would call him, and this was before cell phones were super, super popular. So I would call him, right? And this gives away my age. Because we both had cell phones, but it wasn't like you carried around in your pocket type of thing. It was little stupid bag phones that you left in your car. So I would call him and I'd leave a message on his answering machine. Just, hey, how's it going? Hope you're having a good day. Miss you, something like that. Okay. No answer. Call him the next day. No answer. Finally, I leave a message on his answering machine the third day. And I was done. You know what? The funny thing is he had already bought my engagement ring. I didn't know this. But then a girlfriend of mine comes to me and she goes, he did go take the trip with the guys to Peoria. It's because he wanted to have one last guy trip before he got engaged to me. Did not know this. And, he was talking about some girls they were hanging around with in there in Peoria. So maybe he's starting to like another girl. Of course, she also went there. So you know what I did? Third day. Call up. No answer. Oh boy, did he get a mouthful. And I'm not playing. He got a mouthful and that was done. I was like, that's it. I'm done. He must not really like me that much. Yeah. So when you're dating, my best advice to you is make sure you're making time for each other. And there's some guys out there that have that anxiety too, and they get anxious if you don't write them back right away. And then they get really upset, and then they're worried, and then they're panicky, and all this stuff, drama starts happening. So it can go either with a guy or girl. So just make sure you are taking time for them all the time. Don't make sure you write them. And if you're late in writing them, let's say you have a long work day or you've had a lot going on where you had to get things done before you went to work and then you go to work, make sure by the time you come home that night, they're getting some kind of a message from you saying, hey, look, I'm so sorry. I was busy. I did see your message. I just didn't have time to say anything to you at the time because da 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 da. A lot of times that smooths it over. As long as you're honest and you tell them it's not because you didn't care about them, it was because you were busy, um, then they can relax and they know everything's okay again. So make sure you're taking time to get to know that person as much as you can. Learn a lot as much as you can about each other. Find out what your triggers are. If you know what your temper triggers are, talk about them. Don't lie about it. Be honest and be upfront. Because in order to have a good relationship with somebody, you really need to understand those triggers. You also need to know what each other's quirks are. So, number one rule, be yourself the whole time. Never pretend to be something you're not. Never lie to them and say, I'm like, about your home life, about your family life, about where you grew up. Don't lie to them about where any of that stuff. Tell them the truth. Be upfront. You know, honesty is the best policy. And when they can see that you're honest with them about everything, you don't hide nothing from them, and that you really are letting them see who you really are, then that's going to start a really good relationship because they know they can trust you. And you need to really be open and honest about those things because you both need to know if you can handle living with each other and being together, and having a real genuine relationship. And as long as you can get and be okay with the quirks, what's the best kind of quirks is when those quirks actually make you smile. I mean, you look at it and you see them do that, and then you start laughing, or it just makes you smile. Then be like, yeah, I can definitely live with this person. I love the way their voice sounds. I love the way they laugh. I love, then it's good. And true love is so much deeper than just skin deep. It's not just about what a person looks like. A real love is you really put the other one first. If there was a house fire or if there was somebody coming at you with a gun, what would be your first reaction? Would you run to protect yourself? Or would you go back in that house screaming and yelling, trying to get them out of there? Would you jump in front of that gun? Would you put that person's life before your own? That's another thing to think about too, because if you really, really, really love somebody, you lay down your life for them if it had to happen, because that's how important they are to you. And it's just the way it is. And you have such a deep connection that you can't imagine being without that person. And when it's that deep, then it's the real deal, because nothing will stop you from being able to be there and be that with that person. And the thing is too, but at the same time, if, like I said at the beginning, maybe it won't work out, and that's when you move on. You will find somebody else. Maybe you think you won't, but you will, because if they've already developed a relationship with somebody else, if you really love that person, then you won't be selfish and you'll be okay with that. As long as you can tell that they're connected well with that person and they're happy, then you'll be able to move on and start looking and finding somebody that you can connect with and be happy with, because you're not being selfish. If you true love is even being willing to let go sometimes. And I know that's hard to say, but because it does happen in life. You think you find somebody and then, it doesn't work out. We love them enough to let go, love them enough to want them to be happy, and that their happiness is more important than you having that relationship with them. And a lot of times in the end, it's good because if you can do that and you begin like, oh, then when you run into that person, when they connect with you in some way, you can be good friends with them because, you won't be uncomfortable talking to them. Because eventually, who knows, when you find your person, you're going to go on a couple dates, have nights out, and dating together and things like that. And then you'll have a blast because, you were able to not be selfish. And then you both will be happy for each other because you know that you're happy. And that's all that matters to you is their happiness. And when it's that way, when their happiness is more important than yours, and you're willing to go out of your way to protect them and be there for them, then you've definitely got a good connection, and it's definitely a good thing, and it's definitely real love. So it's just a really deep, deep emotion that nobody can shake. Nobody can take that away from you. And infatuation, like I said, you can take them or leave them. You just want something out of the relationship. You don't really care about the person, their needs, their wants, their feelings, their emotions. You don't care about any of that. All you care about is what can I get from that person? Give me, give me, give me, give me. That's all you care about is give me, give me, give me. And so then it's not right. And then if you're that way all the time with just everybody, then you better stay single. Point blank. Like I said, and to either be single or married. Anyways, have a great night, everyone. So as you see, I don't always talk just about health and things. There's other things out there I like to talk about too. And I think that's kind of important because everybody out there is looking, and eventually, hopefully, we'll find just the right person. So have a great night. Whatever you do, keep moving, keep eating healthy, and do not give up.